In the Bible, there is ideal and there is allowed. Ideal and allowed. Let me explain. When God made Adam and Eve, he gave them a diet which was ideal. It was plant-based. There was no consumption of animal flesh. After the flood, and perhaps even before the flood, God allowed the eating of meat. In other words, meat eating is the result of sin. The ideal diet from God's point of view is a plant-based diet, and this is the diet that will be enforced in the new world. Enforced is perhaps not the best word, is the diet that we will follow in the new world. There will be no killing to provide food. We have ideal, plant-based, allowed meat eating. Another example, marriage. When God put Adam and Eve together, it was his intention, his desire, they would remain together. Now, because of the hardness of the hearts of sinners, divorce was allowed, and Jesus makes that very clear in Matthew 19, verse 8. And so we have, in the area of diet, what is ideal? Plant-based. On a lower level, what is allowed is the consumption of dead flesh. In the area of marriage, what is ideal is staying together as two godly people. What is allowed is divorce if there is the biblical reason, which is a fracture of the covenant, which is known as adultery or some sort of sexual misconduct. Now, what does that have to do with the Sabbath? Listen to the Sabbath text. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work. Thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. Stop. Notice the details of this commandment. You, your spouse, your children, any domestic workers, those under your roof should have the same religious practice. Differences of religion in families tend to cause great stress and strife. But God understands that there's something called allowed. For example, two atheists may marry. Later on, one accepts Christ, the other doesn't. Then strife enters that relationship. God understands that from the point of view of the converted person, because the converted person cannot compel the other to be converted. So God understands that allowed situation where there's a difference in religious belief. One is atheist, one is now a believer. It does not change the fact that God is a God of the ideal. As you keep the Sabbath holy, remember, you serve a God of the ideal. If your situation is such that there are members of your family who do not share your religious belief, God understands that. But it does not alter the fact that the ideal situation from God's point of view is that all members of the family be Sabbath keepers, be of the same religious behavior and conduct. This is one of the foundation stones for peace in the home. My brother, my sister, my friend, wherever you are, as you keep the Sabbath holy, let this day remind you that there's a God who believes in the ideal. And one day, this God will come back and put you in a world where everything will be ideal. Until then, enjoy your fellowship and your worship of the God of ideal. Happy Sabbath, and God bless you.